What if the city that fueled the world's steel industry also quietly gave rise to some of the foods you probably have in your kitchen right now? What if the place most people picture as filled with smoke, iron, and relentless labor actually played a key role in shaping American food culture in unexpected ways? What if everything you thought you knew about the origins of iconic dishes was missing one essential city? That city is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here at First Taste, our mission is all about uncovering stories like this, hidden gems that exist right under our noses. The kinds of stories that can completely shift the way you think about something you've eaten 100 times before. Let's dive in. The first item on our list is the Pittsburgh salad. Step into nearly any diner or sports bar across western Pennsylvania today, and you'll come across a dish that might first puzzle and then completely delight any newcomer. Imagine a salad topped with a generous pile of French fries. This uniquely Pittsburgh creation was born right in this city, a true reflection of the working-class culture that shaped Pittsburgh for more than a century. Steel workers and laborers needed meals that packed the most calories in the shortest amount of time. Somewhere along the way, someone realized that layering hot, crispy fries over cold, crunchy lettuce wasn't just acceptable, it was brilliant. That moment of surprise, the "wait, what" reaction, captures the magic here. The interplay of temperatures and textures, hot and cold, soft and crisp, rich and fresh, is actually a technique revered in fine dining across the globe. Pittsburgh didn't invent it for prestige. It happened out of pure practicality. This isn't merely a salad. It's a snapshot of a city that had no patience for pretense, only a hunger for bold, unapologetic flavor. Food number 2 is Heinz ketchup. It's a condiment that sits in roughly 97% of American refrigerators today. So familiar that most of us barely even notice it. But it actually got its start right here on the banks of the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In 1876, a 32-year-old entrepreneur named Henry John Heinz began producing ketchup in a modest facility on the city's north side. His recipe relied on ripe, red tomatoes, vinegar, and an unusually strict commitment to purity. A bold move at a time when most commercial condiments were loaded with dangerous preservatives and artificial fillers. Heinz was so confident in the cleanliness of his product that he invited government inspectors into his factory, a level of transparency almost unheard of in the Gilded Age food industry. Here's a fact that surprises everyone. Before Heinz standardized ketchup, it existed in dozens of wildly different forms, some made from mushrooms, walnuts, or even anchovies. Heinz didn't just make ketchup popular, he decided what ketchup was. That small glass bottle didn't just change American tables, it helped redefine the very meaning of food safety. Food number 3 is the Primanti Brothers sandwich. Most sandwiches aim to be just a meal, but the Primanti Brothers creation set out to be a whole philosophy of eating. I visited Pittsburgh a few years ago, and this spot was at the very top of my list. Not to mention, it was a favorite hangout of one of my all-time favorite musicians, M. Miller. A little history. In 1933, a man named Joe Prante opened a tiny cart in Pittsburgh's Strip District, catering to truck drivers and market workers who needed a full meal they could eat with just one hand while staying on the job. His solution was brilliant in its simplicity. Cram everything: the meat, the coleslaw, the tomatoes, and yes, even the French fries, directly into the sandwich itself. No plate, no utensils, just 2 thick slices of Italian bread holding an entire meal together. Here's the counterintuitive part that makes food historians stop and think. This working-class grab-and-go invention, born during the depths of the Great Depression, is now studied in culinary circles as an early example of the complete meal sandwich concept, something modern fast-casual restaurants spend millions trying to replicate today. The Primanti Brothers sandwich isn't just food, it's a tribute to Pittsburgh's resilience, a defiant statement that poverty wouldn't steal dignity, one oversized, gloriously impractical sandwich at a time. Food number 4 is the Clark bar. Long before the candy aisle turned into the crowded, competitive wall of chocolate and sugar we know today, one crispy, peanut butter-filled bar was quietly winning people over from a factory in Pittsburgh's East Liberty neighborhood. The Clark bar was introduced in 1886 by David L. Clark, an Irish immigrant who built his candy business from the ground up on the streets of Pittsburgh. It holds a major distinction. It was the first American candy bar to be mass-produced and distributed nationwide. a detail that somehow gets overlooked in most candy histories. Clark's creation featured a crunchy peanut butter and taffy center wrapped in a smooth layer of milk chocolate, delivering a texture that felt incredibly satisfying and a flavor that was rich without being overwhelming. It became so popular that soldiers specifically asked for it in their rations during both World War I and World War II. Here's the part that really catches people off guard. The Clark bar existed more than 40 years before the Snickers bar ever came along. And yet, Snickers grew into a global powerhouse, while the Clark bar remained more of a regional favorite tied closely to Pittsburgh. It's a quiet reminder that being first doesn't always guarantee lasting recognition. This isn't just a candy bar, it's a story of immigrant ambition, the rise of American industry, and the complicated, sometimes bittersweet nature of legacy. Food number 5 is Iron City beer. Some foods nourish a city's body, while others seem to speak directly to its soul, and Iron City beer was created to do a little bit of both. First brewed in 1861 by Edward Frauenheim at the Iron City Brewery along Pittsburgh's Liberty Avenue, this beer quickly became the liquid backbone of a city defined by sweat, grit, and steel. It wasn't just another local brew, it was part of the rhythm of everyday life. Iron City also made history by becoming one of the first breweries in the United States to package beer in cans, introducing the flat-top aluminum can in 1962. This wasn't just a small upgrade in packaging. It was a practical, game-changing innovation that permanently reshaped how Americans drank beer from that point on. But here's the detail that really changes how you see it. Iron City wasn't simply experimenting with cans for convenience. The brewery worked closely with the aluminum industry, an industry that Pittsburgh itself had helped build from the ground up. The flat-top can wasn't just new packaging. It was a direct product of the same industrial ecosystem that defined the city. In a very real sense, Pittsburgh used its own metal to reinvent how beer made its way into people's hands. Iron City beer isn't just a regional favorite. It's living proof that Pittsburgh's industrial creativity reached far beyond the steel mills and into the everyday experiences of people across America. Food number 6 is the banana split. If Iron City beer felt like Pittsburgh's gift to the hardworking adult, then this next creation was its gift to every kid who's ever stood outside an ice cream shop, staring through the window with wide-eyed anticipation. Back in 1904, a 23-year-old pharmacy apprentice named David Evans Strickler was working at Tassel's Pharmacy in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, about 40 miles east of Pittsburgh and well within the city's cultural influence, when inspiration struck. He came up with an idea that would go on to become one of the most iconic desserts in American history. He sliced a banana lengthwise, placed 3 scoops of ice cream between the halves, and then layered on chocolate syrup, crushed pineapple, strawberry topping, whipped cream, chopped nuts, and, of course, a single maraschino cherry on top. The price? 10 cents, twice as much as a standard sundae at the time. Here's the detail that really stands out. College students from the nearby Western University of Pennsylvania, known today as the University of Pittsburgh, became some of Strickler's biggest fans. They spread the word far and wide, turning the banana split into a national sensation purely through word of mouth. In a way, it became one of the first viral foods, long before social media ever existed. The banana split isn't just a dessert. It's a perfect example of how one young person's creativity and curiosity can quietly leave a lasting mark on an entire culture. Food number 7 is Perogies. Not every great food comes from a single flash of inspiration. Sometimes, a dish becomes so deeply embedded in a city's identity that it evolves there and takes on a life of its own. Perogies made their way to Pittsburgh in the late 1800s, brought over by Eastern European immigrants, Poles, Ukrainians, and Slovaks, who arrived to work in the city's mills and mines. They carried these recipes with them not just in their hands, but as part of their heritage and daily life. What happened next is something uniquely Pittsburgh. These soft, pillowy dumplings, filled with potato and cheese, sauerkraut, or meat, gradually stopped being seen as an ethnic specialty and instead became a staple embraced by the entire city. They crossed neighborhoods, cultures, and generations, becoming something everyone could claim as their own. Today, pierogies are so closely tied to Pittsburgh's identity that the Pittsburgh Pirates celebrate them during home games with the famous pierogi race, where oversized costumed Perogies sprint across the field to the delight of the crowd, often drawing some of the loudest cheers of the night. And here's the detail that really says it all. In a city where immigrants from dozens of countries worked side by side under harsh, demanding conditions, the pierogi became a kind of shared language. It was warm, filling, and familiar. A simple, golden-fried symbol of belonging in a place that could easily have felt unfamiliar and isolating. The Pittsburgh pierogi isn't just comfort food. It's edible proof that community is built over time, one shared meal at a time. Food number 8 is Isaly's chipped ham. Some foods are so tied to a specific place that trying to explain them to someone from the outside almost feels impossible, like describing a color that only exists in one city's sky. For Pittsburgh, chipped ham is exactly that kind of food. It was created by the Isaly Dairy Company, which opened its first location in Pittsburgh during the 1930s. What makes chipped ham so unique is how it's prepared. Pressed ham sliced so incredibly thin on a deli blade that each piece curls into soft, delicate ribbons, nearly translucent in appearance. A single pound can contain hundreds of these paper-thin slices. This wasn't just a stylistic choice. It was born out of necessity. Isaly's developed this ultra-thin slicing method during the Great Depression as a way to stretch portions further, helping working-class families feed more people with less meat, without making the sacrifice feel obvious at the dinner table. Here's the part that really surprises people. Chipped ham is almost completely unknown outside of Western Pennsylvania. You can't just walk into a deli in New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles and expect to find it. In its most authentic and beloved form, it exists almost entirely within Pittsburgh's cultural orbit, making it one of the most truly local foods on this list. Chipped ham isn't just another deli item. It's a quiet expression of care and resourcefulness, a reflection of people who found a way to create something comforting and meaningful, even when they had very little to work with. Food number 9 is the whoopie pie. There's a dessert so fun, so over-the-top indulgent, that even its name feels like something a kid might have come up with. And its connection to Pittsburgh is part of one of the tastiest debates in American food history. The whoopie pie, made of 2 soft cake-like chocolate cookies with a thick, fluffy layer of sweet cream filling sandwiched in between, has long been claimed by both Maine and Pennsylvania's Amish communities. But when you dig a little deeper, food historians have traced some of the earliest commercial versions back to bakeries in the Pittsburgh area during the 1920s. There, they were sold as convenient, handheld desserts for factory workers who needed something sweet, durable, and satisfying enough to get them through a long shift. As for the name, it's said to come from the reaction people had when they discovered one tucked into their lunch pail, a spontaneous whoopee, bursting out in pure excitement. One simple word that captured a moment of genuine happiness. Here's the detail that really brings it all together. During a time marked by economic struggle and physical exhaustion, the whoopie pie stood for something surprisingly bold. It wasn't just about calories, it was about joy. Someone, somewhere, decided that workers didn't just need sustenance, they deserved a little delight too. The whoopie pie isn't just a dessert, it's a soft, cream-filled reminder that pleasure isn't a luxury reserved for better times. Sometimes, it's exactly what people need to keep going. Food number 10 is Heinz 57 steak sauce. And for this last stop, we find ourselves back along the banks of the Allegheny River. Because Pittsburgh's most iconic food family wasn't finished reshaping the culinary world with just one invention. While Heinz ketchup was transforming how people thought about condiments, Henry John Heinz was also working on something deeper and more complex. He created a rich, savory blend of tomatoes, malt vinegar, onion, and a carefully guarded mix of spices that would eventually become known as Heinz 57 steak sauce. Introduced in the 1880s and produced in the same Pittsburgh facility as his famous ketchup, this sauce was designed with a purpose: to elevate even the most basic cut of meat into something that felt special. It brought a sense of indulgence and restaurant-quality flavor to working-class families who might never step into a fine dining establishment but still wanted something memorable on their table. Here's the detail that changes how you see it. The 57 in Heinz. 57 doesn't refer to ingredients or varieties at all. Henry Heinz chose the number simply because he believed it sounded strong, trustworthy, and easy to remember, making it one of the earliest and most clever uses of marketing psychology in American food history. Heinz 57 isn't just a sauce. It's a symbol of how ambition and creativity, combined with a desire to make everyday life a little better, have always been part of Pittsburgh's identity. 10 foods, one city, and a story most people never realized they were part of every single day. Pittsburgh didn't just build America's steel, it flavored it, sweetened it, and, in true local fashion, probably topped it with fries. Every bottle of ketchup, every candy bar, every overstuffed sandwich serves as a reminder that the most unexpected places are often the ones quietly shaping the world around us. If this changed the way you think about Pittsburgh, or even your next meal, go ahead and hit that like button, and subscribe to First Taste so you don't miss more stories like this one. And let us know in the comments, which of these 10 foods surprised you the most?